Hey, how's it going? Dun, 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 dun. It's 3:16. Do you know where your SG is? Ooh, do ya? Yeah. So you know when like somebody is like purposely trying to be a thorn in your side, and sometimes it does seem like without being a certain kind of way that people can, say, yeah, but don't sink to their level, or you know, people can say that kind of stuff, right? But you ever get a really good idea, and you're just like, alrighty then. And you know what? It's a great idea, and probably quite easy. Now this particular person, see, I'm not going to say any names, but if you think it's you, Charter, Drunky Brewster, not a trucker, just a truck stop hooker, then it probably is. It probably is. Now, she may be thinking, what's she gonna do? Report me? I don't care about my channel. Um, you know, what's she gonna do? Because you can tell she's like so, she's like, please say my name. Please say my name, like singing about it and stuff. Right? Now I might slip up and say her name. I really don't even give a shit, right? So it's pretty funny because her reality is like bottom of the barrel type of person. You know what I'm saying? So she's all mad at e-beggars because he's, being friendly and cordial. So she didn't like that. Like, okay, that makes sense. But this lady, now, it'd be one thing, and I'm not trying to put down anybody who's, we're not, a lot of us aren't in shape. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us wouldn't do what this person does on camera either. Some people want to say, well, she's having fun. That. Now, come on. Come on now. Like, really. Please. Please. She records herself saying things like theft from truck stop, feeling like, clearly stated, they owe it to her. She stated it. Things like the insurance, the truck accident, and all that, and being fine. She said it herself. She's going to hell. So all this talk about, you know, SG talked about God and Jesus and stuff. This woman recently, like lies and that didn't happen and this and that, even though it's on recording. Okay, she's part of the problem. Why I'm sure a lot of, well, her and her husband. I have nothing against her. I really don't. I think he deserves a normal existence. Um, but I don't think Mary's is. Well, I said the name. I meant like Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman. That's what I thought about. Mary Hartman. Sorry. Remember her? I never understood what that show was about. But anyhow, so yeah, Mary, you keep it up. And the thing is I'm not threatening you with law, violence, channel, anything, nothing like that. Nothing at all. Like that. But yeah. No, I kind of am. I screenshotted that shit. You know that I didn't put it up? Do you know that? I never put up anything where you're dancing half naked. But your buddy SB did. See, but your intent, your motivation is really important. Motivation for people's actions is really important. See, my motivation. See, and Chris probably would still, he'll still be fine. Well, maybe a little embarrassed, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just telling you, Mary, that there was a time I liked you very much, and my channel was one of the. It was when you were going through all that stuff with Lou, and you were breaking up about the whole thing. You were crying. You left the platform for a little while. Took down your whole channel, and you were nice. Remember those days? You were nice. Your live streams were pleasant. Sometimes you can be so pleasant. You really should have tried to be a singer. You do have a good voice. And there's times you're so pleasant. And, your vibe is nice and pleasant and sunny. But not when you're, like, you're just coming at me for some kind of odd, fucked up reason. You should ask yourself why. Remember, I used to go, here she come now, say Mary, Mary. I was always nice to you, man. You really need to just ask yourself. You don't need to say anything. You don't even need to do it. But you should. You should. Because I do value my integrity. So when you sit there saying, I don't care whether you take my channel down, this isn't about my channel. You're you're trying to smear me, lady. You're on a smear campaign on social media, the World Wide Web. That ain't fucking happening. You're not understanding, see? Now, some people might think, oh, don't let it get to you. Don't get angry. I'm not angry. If I was angry, I would have said something before. But I pondered when I was listening to this bitch. When I got to the end, and she talks all sexual about me too. Man, that bitch is like off her rocker, off the chain, off the chain. And what she did singing it was say my name, say my name. Like I wouldn't have. had I not thought of, which I'm not going to say. You'll know though, man. I hope anyway. I really do. I really do. I plan on making the effort in this because I think it's actually helpful to society. At least businesses, they need to know. People on the road need to be told. That's all we wanted posted. You just you you should just have a little talk with yourself. I get it, Jules, for sending me some money. You know, I know. Jules is like, nah, she's off the chain. Prudently, off the chain. They got the extra money. Don't take much to get these fuckers. So, it doesn't. I never wished you cancer candy. That's a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. We talked on the phone. That is a lie. But definitely the fact that you think everything in life is a joke. I mean, maybe it is for you, sure, but you might want to yell and scream about how you have no filter and how you don't care if you're offensive and who you hurt and yeah, I want to be cool and this, that, and the other thing, and be bitching at me for calling you Scary Mary when you just said you were proud to be cruel and mean. But society doesn't want to deal with that, and you want to yell and scream about taxpaying citizens. Well, you know what? I am also a taxpaying citizen and paid them for many years, mind you. And a lot of people have. And you're offensive. You're disrespectful to women. You are a disrespectful person. Like it's too bad because you came off very nice and respectable person. Like, you know, but man, lately you like whoring it up in your live stream. Seriously. Sure, you're getting nitty now telling you. And by the way, I would like to say to me, now I don't know this for sure. I don't know the circumstances, but I thought about it today. Like for a moment, I guess, stepped out of my shoes and stepped in, tried to put myself as a man in a position where it's possible, But what I'm saying is, I do want to say it is commendable what he's doing, like being there for, those people. But it is commendable. And I'm sure it is different for, a guy, like for a guy, and especially, I don't know, whatever the circumstances of my, I really don't know all of it. They seem very nice kids. They're beautiful. They're very sweet. So, whatever. I just want to say that because I thought about it. Thought about it. I thought about it. It wasn't because I listened to him or anything. It was just, I don't know, it popped into my head and I just thought about it. So it is, see a single dad raising 2 little girls like that. He's putting on an effort there. So, kudos. But anyway. So how's everybody doing? Anybody want to say hello? If you don't, that's okay. I'll keep talking. What if a bear knocked at your door and it had a sweater on? But it was standing on like both, like it was bipedal and was wearing a sweater and glasses. Would you let him in? I mean, I'd want to make sure that it wasn't a person wearing a bear outfit. But what if he was trying to fool me? Like Man Shark, remember? Hi, not Patricia. What about the bear? Not Patricia. And I let him in, and then he's, don't you know, never let a bear in. I'm a bear. Like that story about the scorpion and the frog. You know that one? Never true. Or should I say Neferturd? Just kidding. Just kidding. Truly. You know me, I try to be funny when I'm stupid. Alright, you guys want to hear some stuff? None of you is wearing a sweater and glasses. What if it was Winnie the Pooh? Would you let Winnie the Pooh in? Never even seen a bear that color. He'd be running around with no pants on. Then again, he would look kind of funny with. And if it's Argyle with the sweater, if it's Argyle. Was a Christmas sweater and had a gift. Oh, let's go for a gift. You guys want to hear me read? You guys? You guys want to hear me read? I think you do. What do you think? Wanna? Alright. I'm gonna. If you guys insist, I'm gonna do it. Every thinking, feeling human being at some time or another has an awesome experience, one that shakes the very ground he or she walks on. It is at such times that most of us tend to turn to God, to wonder about that hidden presence that we have somehow sensed. These experiences force us to ask questions about the meaning of life and death. Why are we here? Why is there suffering? Why do our loved ones and ourselves have to die? What is the meaning of love? Our faith provides us with tremendous hope when reflecting on questions like these. It teaches us that an infinitely loving God created us to share in his own light, calling us to seek, to know, and to love him. God is always drawing close to us, inviting us into the unity. Damn. Okay, now, Patricia. The heavy questions that strike us. Is it normal to believe in God? These are questions that strike us as we travel through life, often force us to face the issue of God's existence. Most people conclude that God exists, even though no one can see God. They are like the little boy who flew a kite so high that it soared into some low-flying cloud. A passerby asked the boy how he knew the kite was still up in the sky. The boy told the inquisitor to put his hand on the string and feel the pull of the unseen kite. Well, that was a stupid passerby, though. I mean, like, if the kite wasn't on the string still, it would have just fallen to the ground. The string wouldn't stay up in the air. Right? Right. God's existence and presence are like this. We may not see God face to face, but we can feel God's tug on our heart. This tug reveals that we are faithful beings by nature. We seek God and we allow God to seek us. Not everyone in our world agrees, however. For example, atheists, for various reasons, deny God's existence. Some who trust only in material reality claim God cannot be experienced with the senses. Hence, for them, God does not exist. See, I think God is in everything, don't you? Patricia? Anybody else? Does anybody else wants to join in the conversation? I mean, I get it, even like when talking about certain topics, like, God or whatever. Some people don't even want to be seen talking about God, so make another account, come in and talk. And these people go, oh, she's inviting trolls, and well, whatever. Yes, this is a troll channel. Well, that's because you guys are weirdos. You have to dox people and harass people. But if anybody wants to come in whatever account there is, unless it's offensive or whatever, that we will get rid of. So, but to participate in conversation, most definitely, you're welcome to. Um, Others hold that belief in God downgrades what it means to be human. For them, humanity is the only God. You think so? That's kind of, I don't know. Still, others reject the notion of God because they find the suffering and evil in the world incompatible with the existence of a supreme and loving being. And in truth, some, it's just because they do not want a religion and it's God telling them how to behave, perhaps urging them to change an irresponsible, selfish, or immoral lifestyle. See, now that I'm more apt to believe is why people, you know what I mean? Like if somebody was browbeating you with God, say you grew up in a family where somebody was browbeating you with God, and when you grow up and you move out, you can still like seek out something to believe in. God would be the all-encompassing word of it. Okay, let's just say it's you know the all-encompassing word. It doesn't mean that like God doesn't, or I don't want to talk about God because I grew up with these people pushing, religion on me, or this, that, and the other thing. Because I think the key to it is just believing in it, and then you not all of a sudden, boom, like that. It's like you hear a pop and it's your head coming out of your ass. You know, it isn't. But if you think about things, and it doesn't mean that, just because I thought of maybe and wanted to say something that normally I don't say, but it's not like I hate the guy, I don't think of him every day and I'm out to get him. It ain't like that. But I do think that there must have been a reason, why popped in my head to actually make a conscious effort to think about, the whole scenario of a man having two little girls, raising them and stuff, I don't know. So it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is gonna say or change or whatever. But it also doesn't change the fact that that's still a commendable thing. So how I think doesn't have to change with how they think of me. Mary, I don't even hate you. I just really hope that you can take a moment to make a conscious effort to ask yourself, why are you mad? Do you know what I mean? Just take a moment, like, really. Because all I ever remember was that we were fine. And rainbow, glitter. How you doing? Um, what is that? One of those? Is that one of those clown ones? I can't see the avatar. It looks like one of those. You know how like when somebody dresses up like this is a funny story. I'm not laughing at like because my eyes are bad. It's probably not a clown wig. I just see like two different colors on it. Like just please, please. So one time I was bartending and my friend that would come up there, this Filipino, right? She was cool as shit, and she uh she got a buzz on. She was buzzed, and so her friend was like, "So come on, let's go." And she's like, "No, no, I'm staying here." Right? Like she was gonna like she was, you know, just gonna spend the night at the bar. Right? Like, nah, we're closing, right? Oh, it's a water drink. It is? I can't even say. So they're walking out the door and she goes to me and her friend. She she was talking about like me and she was telling her friend, she said, "No, no, wait, she's sending me some wigs. She's gonna send me a wig." Now I didn't have cancer then, so like, I'm sure like she probably because, maybe she wore wigs before. I know people do wear wigs, like it's fashionable sometimes, And and I was like the next time I saw her. Because me, the girl cracked up. She said, she's sending me some wigs. She was drunk, right? And we don't know where that came from. She just all of a sudden comes out with that. So next time I see her, I told her about it. I said it was so funny. I was tempted to go get one of those clown wigs if I could have it for you next time you come in. You know, they're like the curly hair. It's all rainbow colors. He's like, you're stupid. Funny shit. Funny shit goes on in life. But Mary's not funny. See, that's good, just regular humor. Where, you know, when these people are like, they just keep, like, it's slander. And I do value my integrity. I've never broken somebody's house, and I'm not a massive. I'm stupid. It's been proven to be done. Really? Drug testing. I mean, not my reason, of course, but yeah, didn't you see me on intervention? It didn't work. Sure, just kidding. So, you guys want me to keep talking about reading this? You guys are enjoying it? Am I alright? Am I doing alright? Sis, just let me know. Keep doing it. So, what's that emoji? Is that flipping me off? Hey, flip. Oh no, that's never Trish. You can't flip me off. It's giving me a thumbs up. The other day you were funny when you said, that's a nose, not prayer hands. Because I'm telling you, that time, a serious thing that I put a nose for prayers or something in a room. I said prayers and I put a nose by accident. And the girl, I remember her name was Jackpot Queen. She was so funny. I miss her. She goes, that's a nose. uh, prayer hands for the nose. But we know me. We knows me. The nose knows. Hola. Is that what you said? Anyway, if I can say it sideways, that's why I can't read it. Oh, ha ha. You said, ha ha. Whatever. Here we go. Let's keep going. Our own experience can guide us to God. Our feelings of dependency, our sense of wonder and awe and joy, our feelings of being invited and called to do greater things than we are doing right now. All of these may speak of a God who has made us to discover Him. Man, I'm doing drugs. Put your hands, praying for drugs. Just kidding, just kidding. There's way. See, people don't get my humor. I think they do, but it's just saying that. That's funny. It's like I thought that when I said, "Or I'll call your mom and have you committed again," it was funny, and it was private. So I don't know. I guess I just keep hoping for the best out of Chandler, but instead I'll just hope the best for her. Sorry, guys. I was just shooting up between my toes. I don't have a clean spot anymore. My tourniquet was twisted. So just kidding. Go ahead, guys. The Roscoe's getting gray. Ain't that some fucked up shit? I think my dog is getting gray. You know how like dogs do that when they start getting older? They start getting a little gray around like their mouth or their snout. Like you can tell they start to get gray. I miss you, Lefty. I was missing you. I think it's probably. Well, I mean, if it's true what they say about dog years, like really, sure it does. Sure it does. Time flies. It's not like that aging happens so fast. Oh, for dogs? Does, doesn't it? Well, if it's 7 years, I think it's really 7 years. I mean, I saw a dog that was 20 years old before. It was a pug. 20 years old. Can you imagine that? And you know what he was doing? know what the pug was doing? Wearing a little cape and doing the haunted walk through Plymouth, Mass, with his owner. He was the host. He was the host. He wore a little cape. Top hat wouldn't stay on him, but he'd been doing it for years. I mean, he's probably gone by now. I mean, I was surprised. The dog was, full of piss and vinegar. A little pug wearing a cape. You're going to party. Yeah, but what if you do make it to your 70s and you don't party and then you're like, shit, I should have partied. Should have had more fun. Like, I don't know what you mean by party. I've seen people go, hey, do you party? And they don't even mean party. Like, I'm like, well, party? What do you mean party? Like, I'll never forget the first time somebody said that. I mean, but then other people, like party is like like normal. We like party. Whatever the fuck. I can't keep looking at this phone sideways. The fucking plug is in the worst spot. I'm a random person. My cat was insane. Yeah, you never can tell what type of party. Exactly, right, Michael? Bam, 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 bam. Aww. So you don't think you could ever, like, end up married again? Maybe? Maybe not married. I think I would get married. Like red tape. But I might have, like, a ceremony of my love. My love. But I want to dance to a medley. I don't want to have to pick just one song. And I like a lot of songs. I like a lot of songs. Aww. Have you ever seen the movie Somewhere in Time? Rainbow? Have you ever seen that? It's really got a beautiful score. The score is really nice for it. No? Oh my god, it's so nice. The flag is like on the top of it. It's so crazy. That was awesome. Yes, he was a pug. Thank you for catching up. Random. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Well, if you've never seen it and you sound like, I don't know, you might like it if you like a little, like, romance movie like that, along the lines of what you're talking about. Like, I don't want to tell you how it ends, but they do meet in heaven. But the whole movie is beautiful. Hi, Dorothy. The whole movie is beautiful. Well, Jane Seymour is in it. What if he die at 69? They're going to be so mad. It's called Somewhere in Time. Has Christopher Reeve in it, too. Remember Superman? Well, it was okay, you know. I mean, I don't, you know, I have another scan, but of course I haven't talked to my, doctor yet, but we're all positive prayers here, aren't we? Absolutely. Absolutely we are. Let's put my positive prayer banner up. I'm just kidding. You know what? Fuck them. I'll put my banner up. I didn't, at least I didn't put it in positive prayer, everything. Christopher, the one, yeah, he's dead now. His wife died too, you know. Her name was Tracy. That movie was one of my favorite movies. You ever date somebody that was very romantic? Like, not romantic like where it's, wussy like, and you like them too, and you like them, so you like the person. So it's like they say and do things, and you don't look at it like, ugh, You look at it like, oh my god, that's sweet. You ever date somebody like that? I did put my banner up. See? I put my banner up. Look at my big old face in that picture. I gotta change it. I got a big old face. I changed my picture. Did I ever tell you I did the can at Disney World? Did I tell you guys that? Yup. In the Hoop-de-Doo Review in Frontierland. They brought me up on stage. It was bone skin. Tomorrow, cat skin. Mary said I have cancer of the asshole. She's a nice lady. I'm glad she's on the streets being so kind. I could see her littering. I get all pissed if I see somebody littering. I say something. See, that's an important thing to say something about. Mm, yeah, I think you're being facetious. No, you don't, Random. Don't even joke like that. You're funny. Don't even joke like that. Don't say that. You should have erased that comment, Random. Don't say that about yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was reading a little bit from this book. Okay. Um, when we reflect on ourselves as something very special in creation, we are given some strong insights that help us conclude there is a creator who brought us into existence. The following are traditional arguments for the existence of God. One of them may strike a response with you. Well, no, Random. I just don't want you to say it anybody. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I just, I don't know. I don't know. Fucking Deb, you're funny. Were you no BS? Because you're funny. You are funny. You are really funny. Did you just make that up? Get the hell out of here. Thank you, Randall. It's just out of love for you. It's not out of hate or anything. I just don't want those words said, about you, even if you said it myself, I never want that. Dad, well, you know BS. Because you're funny, and no BS is funny. Your videos are funny. I used to like it when you would read the comments. Like, don't read my comments. I don't have many. Read them at other places. When you do the moments with Michelle live stream and right? She isn't a bad looking woman. Moments with Michelle. Well, Michelle is definitely, you know, definitely, yeah, like that's kind of how I was being dad. Like, what I can't believe that my Kendra made the video, and she said that I was going around telling people she'd been committed. It was like, come on, Kendra, I didn't tell anybody you'd been committed. I wrote know, because I said you couldn't even keep the promise that if we ever did have an argument, neither one of us would be like publicly an asshole, And I said, keep it up, and I'm gonna call your mom. I'm gonna call your mom and have her commit you again. But she never told me she'd been committed. She knows that. And I'm not gonna call her mom. I don't even know her mom's name. I know she does that though, huh? She does talk more when she's on time, right? Maybe that's his, you know, maybe if he would stop being a dick. It's like she tries to make him have normal conversations. And he's just so, oh my God, he just won't stop talking about sex. Like, what is wrong with the guy? Yeah, the Michelle, you're so funny. See how you're hysterical. Yeah, she was like a timid, doe-eyed deer that wouldn't say anything and take little steps in. Now she's almost like, she does kind of put him in his place sometimes. Maybe they're like a show together. Maybe, maybe he should let her take control. I bet you he would like that, and I bet you she would do it. In my opinion, I'm picturing it. That's gross. Not Tom so much, because he just wants to dress like a baby. Ugh, God, him and his diaper worshiping. Oh, I just had a, yeah, like this for open. Ugh, another one. Oh my God, so disgusting. And somebody literally makes you like your skin just third skin crawling. Ugh, that he can control. He wants to be a baby random. He likes, it's called infantilism or something, I believe. Ugh. I think that's why he's bald with no eyebrows. Ugh. God, I bet he shaves all of his body hair. Oh my God. Ugh. God, I think I'm dry heaving. Good night, Deb. Ugh. Ugh. God, I don't even think he'd settle for a binky. I think he'd be one of those fuckers that is going to be banging his rattle. More milk, more milk. Little turd. I told you guys he's albino, right? No, for real. He doesn't like to admit it. Because, he's racist. Like that one. Or anything, for that matter. I believe his first words weren't mommy. I believe it was fat bitch, he called her. You stupid fat bitch. diaper me, breastfeed me. He loved being a baby. I remember the best time of his life. He got the most action. That was the last time maybe he saw his private. He's now he's stuck in that because no woman wants to see him. He's disgusting. Can't even see his private, probably. All pink. But no. I did not, random. Why didn't you tell me last night so I would have known? Come on now. Something wrong with me. Anyway, back to reading. These are the following are traditional arguments for the existence of God. One of them may strike a response with you. An unquenchable thirst for happiness. We all want to be happy. We spend a lot of our time and energy trying to do things and acquire things that we think will make us happy. Yet our happiness fades, and we soon find ourselves desiring something else. Are we creatures doomed to be ultimately frustrated? We want happiness, but the more we pursue it, the more it seems to slip away. Can it be that a creator made us with a hunger for happiness, which nothing in this world can completely satisfy? Oh, yeah, I didn't get it the first time I read that, but now I do. Might it be that God implanted in us a kind of homing device? Wow, that causes us to be restless until we find Him. Now that's interesting. That's interesting. This restlessness for total happiness points to a supreme being who made us this way, with a keen desire for God implanted in our hearts. God made us for Himself and always attracts us to Him. In the words of St. Augustine, you are great, Lord, because you have made us for yourself, and our heart is restless until it finds its rest in you. It said that, okay, I'll read it again. This is like the following are traditional arguments for the existence of God. One of them may strike a response with you. An unquenchable thirst for happiness. We all want to be happy. We spend a lot of our time and energy trying to do things and acquire things that we think will make us happy. Yet our happiness fades, and we soon find ourselves desiring something else. Are we creatures doomed to be ultimately frustrated? We want happiness, but the more we pursue it, the more it seems to slip away. Can it be that a creator made us with a hunger for happiness, which nothing in this world can completely satisfy? Might it be that God implanted in us a kind of homing device that causes us to be restless until we find Him? This restlessness for total happiness points to a supreme being who made us this way, with a keen desire for God implanted in our hearts. God made us for himself and always attracts us to him. The next one is a sense of justice. Have you ever felt that the evil people of the world will someday be called to task? It seems unfair that cheaters and liars and killers often prosper in this life, while some good people suffer and are taken advantage of. That's so true. We have a fundamental belief, that's right. We have a fundamental feeling that things will be reversed someday, that there is a power that will right all wrongs, if not in this life, then in the next. These are arguments that we traditional arguments. Love. How can we explain the greatest reality known to us? The sense of being cared for and loved. Love is a spiritual reality that is not explained by the material universe. It must come from somewhere, ultimately, from love itself. Ah, that's true. Otherwise, we wouldn't care about anything if, or just material things, like just what we could see and feel. We wouldn't love something enough so much, and so that's got to come from God. That's got to come from something planted in you, in your heart, right? Hmm. You guys think hate comes from people's heart too? Okay. It must come from somewhere, ultimately, from love itself, the being we call God. The same can be said for intelligence. It must ultimately come from intelligence itself, God. Yeah, they say God is love, and then they're saying God is intelligence too. God is, like everything that we are not seeing, like material, all of that. Otherwise, if there was, like we could just, it couldn't just happen, really, like. Yeah, and the last traditional argument for the existence of God is the human person. Christians believe that the human person is made in God's image and likeness. Our openness to truth and beauty, our sense of moral goodness, our ability to love, even at great personal cost. All these reveal a spiritual depth to humans. You know what? I have the wrong readers. They point to the existence of a soul, the seed of eternity. God implants in us the capacity for these spiritual activities rooted in the soul. They have their origin only in a spiritual being of infinite goodness, a being we call God, who has created humans in his own image and likeness. But what do you think when somebody is like, ever be looking at somebody and they're smirking or something? Even if they're smiling, they're smirking. And they're smiling at like somebody's misery. What are that? Like what is that? What makes that happen? I would feel like there's no way God created him or her. What does our common experience tell us about God? From the earliest times, human beings have testified to the existence of God. An overwhelming majority of cultures has believed in some being who is greater than any of its members. I've always felt like, and sorry, this is just my thought, that God was an abbreviation for greatest of the deities. That was just my thought. There have been, okay, now, okay, so atheistic, okay. There have been atheistic governments that denied God, but many of the people in those countries still held fast to a belief in God. One can argue that such an observation does not prove that there is a God, yet it is still very convincing that the common human experience has acknowledged a God who unites, heals, and preserves the human race. Yeah, but they've also been wiped out in famines and stuff. So then on the flip side, we have to believe in the devil too, right? That they're both fighting for souls or something. One wants to save the world, but then the other one, okay, then God would come in and kill everyone because, you know, people can't let that happen. We really can't. It's really important, especially with platforms like public platforms where, you know, the bottom line is, you know, when somebody's smirking, like I want to know, like, what do you guys think? Like, when you see somebody and you're like, oh, the image of God, like, but then somebody else is like smirking and saying something that we can't wrap our head around. Like when you see somebody who's getting worse, maybe are they possessed? Would that be considered possessed? Like, what it? Like if somebody has stated they're going to hell, if they were a believer in things, right, and they knew they couldn't take back what they did, then would that mean that now they're just like, oh, whatever? And if they were listening to a person who was telling them, well, on your last dying breath, as long as you say this, you're okay. Now, if people get in like that, who are telling people that, then they're going to be like, well, come on, then we got some sinning to do. Yeah, but my, I'm not doubting that it's like, but sometimes if their heart starts maybe feeling less love and more hate, maybe. Do you think like people who don't trust people are also less apt to have faith? True. Maybe. Yeah. Because if they don't have faith in people they can see, you know they're not going to have faith in something they can't see. Yeah. Huh. Well, that explains a lot. So if you ever get around people and they're like, I don't trust anybody, then that's pretty hard to have faith like that, that way. I don't know. So one could argue that Aaron does absolutely God. Alright. People have not agreed on the exact nature of this superior being or how many of these things. Okay, hold on. Let me start. People have not agreed on the exact nature of this superior being or how many of these beings there may be. Some picture a vengeful, spiteful God. Others see a remote figure, like a clockmaker who constructs his masterpiece, but is then quite content to allow it to run by itself. Still, others imagine a capricious God. What does capricious mean? Somebody can look it up. Look it, Google it. Please. Ah, whimsical. Got it. Alright. It says, still others imagine a capricious God, one who toys with and torments with creatures. Disagreement on what God is like does not disprove God's existence, however. These differences merely show that left to our own clouded intellects, we cannot perceive God clearly. We know someone is there, but God's true identity is not crystal clear to us using our minds alone. We need God's direct help if we are to know God as God really is. See, then that would be trying to say, not you, I'm saying, but that would be them See, I wonder if that is something, though, huh? I mean, it's just all of a sudden, it's like, I don't know, like, as if God would just have like a moment, like a mood, But I guess maybe if somebody had the power to do it, and that would make him the devil as well. Then that would, in that, like it, for if you were thinking of that way, then there would be no devil. It would just be him and his mood. Like when it's thundering and lightning, and people will be like, "Oh, God's mad." And then if all of a sudden somebody got struck by lightning next to you and died, and if like you were maybe a bunch of people heard you say it, and you just said it jokingly, "Oh, God must be mad," and all of a sudden, this person's, you'd be, people would be like, "Oh my God," because people do say, "Oh, God must be mad." But if it struck somebody and killed them, would we think of it as like, I don't know. Like as if God would just come and strike somebody. You know what I'm saying? I think that I think that maybe it could be, he is the authority over these other gods. Maybe, but he is the greatest of the deity. And if you think about it, I don't know. I mean, I would hope that there is no real hell. You know, I think that'd be pretty shitty if um if God, there's a heaven up there, but the devil is also just as strong as God, and so there's like a hell underneath it. Plus, I do believe they've done studies and they've showed us like what is it, the crust of the earth, the mantle, and then what is the middle, the core or something, the Earth's core. What is that made out of? Does anybody know what the Earth's core is? It the Earth's core? But so if they've like dug all the way through it to know and break it down like that for us, or what are they just guessing? I mean, so somebody must have like dug all the way through. That's probably why they say, "Oh, what are they doing? Oh, digging a hole to China." That's probably what Mel's hole was. You guys ever hear of that? Mel's hole? I'm gonna lie to you, I kind of miss my laptop to look things up real quick like that. Mel's hole. I'd like to look up Mel's hole. Alright, now while I'm reading, I want someone to tell me what the Earth's core is made of. We're having a little quiz here. Just kidding. What does reason tell us about God? Now, here's what Alright. I thought Thomas Aquinas. Am I saying it right? Aquinas? You know what I'm saying, right? Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas. They go, the great medieval theologian. Medieval? What does that mean? What is that using in medieval times? Interesting. How do they know it's there then? So how would they know it was there? I don't know kilometers. Come on, this is the USA. 6,000. Come on now. In layman's, no, say it the real way. No, that's okay. Educational purposes only. Hey, vampire. Silas. I like Silas and that's so weird. So the vampire Silas. Bet you're getting a lot of girls with that name. What is it that? Alright, maybe vampire, whatever. Freaking Rachel Reed was all like, I wanted to be a phlebotomist, but they asked what religion I was, and I said vampire. And they wouldn't let me go to phlebotomist school. And she was serious. Serious Cyrus, that's what you should call it. Oh, Silas is your name, sorry. But Sirius Cyrus is a good name. Sirius Cyrus. You're so silly. I was reading. Sirius. Silly Cyrus. Why am I stuck on Cyrus? Cyrus. 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 Stuck on stupid. Alright. Thomas Aquinas. The great medieval. I'm no, I thought he was biblical. Medieval? Is it medieval? Medieval? Like medieval? You guys, seriously, I'm gonna need some input about Thomas Aquinas. What can I tell the what? Oh, hey, Nepatrish, you should drop the link for that channel you told me about earlier. That's a good channel. Looks like it anyway. Aquinas. Medieval. Yes, medieval, we know. But I thought, was the Bible times the medieval times? Were they? They could have been. Oh, you don't know how to drop links, Snapper? You don't? Anyway, he summed up 5 so-called proofs for the existence of God. They all come down to affirming that we can discover God by looking at a movement, becoming contingency, order, and beauty in the world. For example, Aquinas points out that everything we know of in existence was caused by something or someone else. Well, you don't have to be quite the genius to know that, right? Thank you, Neptune. There has to be a source that was the first cause, an uncaused cause that logically always existed. This first cause, this first cause, the philosophers call God. The other arguments are similar. Our own personal reflection on the beauty, immensity, symmetry, and power of creation can give us an awareness of a God who made all things and keeps them in existence. Alfred North Whitehead once said that God is the poet of the world. God's lyricism, is that right? Lyricism can be discovered in truth, beauty, and goodness. Our reflections and experiences of awe and wonder point to the existence of God. Christians believe not only that God exists, but also that God freely, lovingly, and graciously communicated himself to us. In his goodness and wisdom, God chose to reveal himself and to make known to us the hidden purpose of his will, by which through Christ the world made flesh. Christians believe in divine revelation. What do we mean by this important term? First, we must emphasize that God is primarily a mystery. God's ways are above our ways, and God's thoughts are above our thoughts. God is totally other. God is totally other. No human words, no human thought can totally explain who God is. In a certain sense, God is hidden behind a veil. As we have seen, though, we can use our minds to figure out that there must be a God who made everything and keeps it in existence. And by studying carefully what God has made, we can say some things about him. For example, when we look at the vastness of the universe, we must conclude that the one who made it is an infinite being. That is, one who is not limited. Or when we reflect on the existence of intelligent life in the universe, we are led to conclude that the Creator himself must be an intelligent being. To the ninth degree, an all-knowing being who is the very source of human intelligence. Makes me feel like there's these this other place, right? And they're like gigantic and we're very small. And I don't know, maybe the other place, like heaven, where whatever, where these people are like in this Garden of Eden, like everything that you just, that you want is, you know, you just think it. It's not like it's money or material, stuff like that. Um, but your heart has to be right in order for your mind, because those things can disappear, you know? So, in order for us to see them whenever we want, without money, without worries, without anything like that, in order for us to ever get to that place where, there's like these really um, big, you know, it's totally, the people are perfection. But, they do like maybe move on and they become replaced or they come. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe there's only 12 of them. And it's not really that there's a devil, but it's just that there is, there's always some kind of, where one will do, there's, maybe there is. Maybe it's like a big chess game. Think. Could it be just a big chess game? Hey, that's not sure. And like, was Zeus, right? Was the biggest one, and the other one was it Neptune, right? What if they aren't myths? What if that shit's the truth? Ain't that some shit? Maybe that's why the stars are named after those guys. Wow. They are, but I think that there's like, they can't have just anybody up there with them. But um, I just think it's weird. Who named the planet? Mercury, Venus, Jupiter. Who named the planet? Because those were like Greek gods, right? Well, that's some shit right there. Neptune, that is some shit. Who named the planet? I gotta find it. Glasses. These glasses are shit. Shit. Let me see if I can find different glasses. I'll be right back. Interesting. Interesting that they could see them. Isn't it wild? I mean, isn't that crazy? Just think of the universe as one big giant universe. Simple difference. Okay, so um, then invisible, yeah, I don't see them. Okay, all right, all right. Done with this. Basically, we can conclude that God is a perfect being who is in no way limited like the creatures God has made. So maybe they really want though that maybe they had these demigods. Remember they said call them that or something? God goes beyond all creatures. But we must remember that human reason alone can only give us a veiled or clouded knowledge of God. One conclusion from this is to realize that our images of God are limited and imperfect. We must not confuse our images of God with the incomprehensible, invisible, infinite God. Now that makes sense. Like by saying um, God made man in his image. I wonder if that means that there's like a, could it possibly mean not mean in God's image? Or could God look like any man? Like maybe not that we're all supposed to look like God, but that God could look like any man or woman or anything, you know? Okay. Yet Christians believe that God freely chose to communicate himself and his plan for our salvation to his creatures. This free gift of God's self communication is known as supernatural or divine revelation. Literally, revelation means unveiling. We believe that out of the abundance of his love, God unveiled himself in human history and speaks to us as friends, lives among us, and invites us into fellowship with him. We call this revelation supernatural because we, as God's creatures, do not have a natural right to this intimate friendship with God. God's self disclosure, God's invitation to a deeper life of love, is purely a gift on God's part. So, does that mean that he didn't um, mean, like, but then again, they said that maybe but but if we got to be invited, I mean, I think we do have a natural, but I think when somebody calls it supernatural, it's because it's like ethereal. Is that it? Like from the inside, you feel like uh, fire going off. Like um, it's a to want to someone to. It's a love for oneself too, and a love for life, a love for learning, love for other people. It's you know, I think that's super. At many moments in the past, and by many means, God spoke to our ancestors through prophets. But in our time, the final days, He has spoken to us in the person of His Son, whom He appointed. Out. See, that doesn't make sense. Okay, the final time. All right. So I believe that. Okay, so they're like quoting from Hebrew. So they are speaking in. They are talking almost like. I mean, let's not. They were very advanced back then. They had a lot of inventions. Yeah, so it's like it is possible that maybe whomever, I don't know. I don't even know. I'm just learning here, so that's just whatever. I'm speculating. Um, the story, the story of God's self-disclosure, God's saving action in history, is known as salvation history. The story of God's generous love began with the creation of our first parents. After their fall, God promised to redeem us. I thought He forgives everything now. See, that don't make sense. I think He wanted a perfect world, and He can have a perfect world. It is possible. With God, all things are possible. Because obviously, somebody made beauty and love. Now, I am inclined to believe that hate doesn't come from the heart. I don't know where it comes from, but I can't imagine that it's the heart. We know love would come from the heart and intelligence from the. I think that the longing to know about something, though, is um, well, I don't think like a certain person says in your last dying breath you can say, "Oh, I believe Jesus Christ died for my sins." Stop it. I'm not talking to you like that. I'm just saying it's not easy to create a world. It's not easy to It's not easy to try to, you know, be in charge of everybody and be everywhere. So maybe he's in charge of creating a perfect place, like, and um, God's abiding love. Okay. So wait a minute. Okay. After their fall, God promised to redeem us and gave hope of eternal life to the human race. God's abiding love reveals itself in covenant, loving agreements between God and humans. Well, yeah, that would be the covenant with the circumcision and stuff. Abraham, right? Abraham. For example, in the covenant with Noah after the flood, God immediately began to reach out to the divided peoples with the goal of eventually. Okay, so see, I think that back then, probably when they were saying, that that and I do think a lot of the cancer in the world comes from the earth. Like when you start digging into it and you break the crust or something. Like not just when you're like on the outer or whatever, planting and stuff. Because most seeds you could just plant like 6 inches down, if even, for food and stuff. I mean, you really don't need to be breaking the earth's crust. And I think that it was probably pretty possible for people to. I mean, it just doesn't seem like we see many people in the Bible dying of cancer. You know, it just doesn't seem that way, and um, I really just feel like that's one of the reasons why. I mean, look at all the stuff that becomes airborne when they start, chopping down the rainforest and stuff. You know, yeah, this, we're destined for destruction. I mean, if like think about it, if what you said was in the Earth's core, right, all that shit, and they keep digging and digging and digging, and we know they do. I mean, they have these places that like bunkers and shit. Um, they're just looking to release shit. That's where like uranium is and all that stuff. And should be digging in this stuff. Digging in dirt, it's only gonna hurt. Am I boring you guys? Tell me now. No, really, is it boring for you guys? I kind of thought this book was pretty interesting myself. Because it's you know, makes you think about different theories and things like that. I like that. Kind of open to like the whole, you know. Alright, so I'll go on for 9 more minutes. Okay? you do. I hope you do like it. Alright, after 9 more minutes. Okay. Okay. So, God promised to redeem us and gave hope of eternal life to the human race. God's abiding love revealed itself in covenant, loving agreement between God and humans. For example, in the covenant with Noah after the flood, God immediately began to reach out to the divided peoples with the goal of eventually uniting all people in Christ our Lord. Oh my God, Lulu just brought me her little ball. Alright, Lulu. Okay, so she brought it to me. So I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna throw it for her. God immediately began to reach out to the divided peoples with the goal of eventually uniting all people in Christ our Lord. A profound event in God's plan was the covenant with Abraham and the creation of the nation of Israel. Oh, okay. Through the patriarchs, the founding fathers of Israel and Moses, through whom God revealed the divine law, God taught the people of Israel to acknowledge him. Okay, she brought it back. Okay. 2, because she brought it to me. She got 2. No, don't you dare go in there. Let her get it. Through whom God revealed the divine law. God taught the people. Ah, you little bastard. Go in your house. God taught the people of Israel to acknowledge him as the one true God. Through prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah, God gave Israel hope for salvation, a future Messiah who would write a new covenant in the hearts of all humans. The poor and humble, whose dependence on God was shown beautifully in the life of Mary, the Mother of God, bear this hope in a special way. Salvation history reached its high point in the coming of Jesus Christ, the fullness of God's revelation. I don't know that I get that, okay, I get it. Okay, so he wanted to reveal, and he was reading Isaiah's scroll. The story of salvation history lives on in sacred scripture in the Bible and in the sacred tradition of the Christian community. Okay, so we'll talk about the sacred tradition. How do we learn of salvation history next time that we do this? If you guys like it or not, I don't know. If you do, give thumbs up. Leave your comments. That'd be cool. And see, now he is taking her piece of paper. She can't just have a balled up piece of paper, really, Ross. So he put his paw over it. What a jerk. Now he's biting on it. What a dick. Now she's walking away all sad. Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to be a jerk like that? Alright, you guys. Peace, love, and chocolate. Love you guys. Have a great night. I appreciate you all.